Tyrese Haliburton, not good enough to play for the Kings. Another game winner in the playoffs. This one in game one of the NBA Finals. You know, to me, it really wasn't a good game until about the last couple of minutes. It's what Indiana's done all year. It's what Indiana's done in this entire playoff. They're never out of a game. They just keep playing. They keep playing. They have a phenomenal coach in Rick Carlisle. Great job not calling a timeout there.
Yep.
Don't allow the defense to get set. What can you say? How sloppy were they with the ball? And Oklahoma City could not capitalize, Ryno.
Grant, they were overstimulated, and everybody's going to talk about the Oklahoma City defense in the first half. I'm going to talk about the Indiana transition defense all game. They had 25 turnovers, Napes, and they only scored 11 points, Oklahoma City, on those 25. They lead the playoffs in points off of turnovers, 25 a game, by the way. That's where the Pacers stuck around.
Yeah, we're so happy that you are joining us. We are welcome here to take your phone calls. We'd love to. Give us a call. You want to talk about the game, hit us up. We'll be on for as long as you want to go. All right. Game one in the books. The Pacers take home court advantage away. I don't think a home court's going to be that big of a deal in this series because both teams are so good on the road. So I don't think it's as big as it normally is in the finals. I mean, Oklahoma City was great on the road this year. We've seen what Indiana's done on the road throughout the playoffs. And again, here they are already getting a win. So I don't think it's that big of a deal where the game is being played.
Yeah, I'm with you. Oklahoma City, though, if you look at their numbers versus home and the road during the playoffs, Napes, it's an amazing discrepancy.
Yeah.
But I do want to ask you this about this game. Did 8 days off show up in the second half for Oklahoma City?
I thought it showed up. I thought the layoff for both teams showed up. I really did. And I thought that's one of the reasons why we saw a sloppy game. I don't know if you would characterize it as sloppy. I consider it a sloppy game. And so, yes, I do. I'm not saying that's why they lost, but that's a long time off between games. I'd be shocked if the Thunder don't win on Sunday and win by and I mean this. I think they'll win by double digits on Sunday. This right now is shaping up to be a long series. But again, Oklahoma City is not going to have any problem going on the road and winning. That's what they do. That's what they've done. But give Indiana credit. What else can you say? And again, Kings fans, get used to seeing Tyrese Haliburton in big moments because you're going to see it pretty much every year.
Hey, Grant, if you're a kid like my age, when I was watching the 92-93 finals, Jordan, game one, hitting that shot just from the same place Hallie did.
Yep.
That's what some kid just saw. And I'm not comparing Hallie to Jordan. I'm comparing the moment. He won an NBA Finals game for his team.
Think about that. And think about how many games he's won at the end in the playoffs. I mean, of course, game one at New York was just unbelievable. I've said this on many rants over the last few weeks. To me, Tyrese Haliburton is not a special talent. He's a special player, and there's a difference, okay? Like if you're looking at other point guards in the NBA and you compare them with Haliburton, you would take a lot of those other guys over Haliburton in terms of what you see in talent. But the guy's a special player. And when you have a special player, you keep that special player. And again, for Kings fans, it's very painful to see a special player who you drafted go to another team.
Is it fair to say that you knew he was that special that early on, though, Grant?
No, you didn't know he was going to be this special, but you knew he had a tremendous upside and you knew he had the potential to be special. But potential and knowing he has a tremendous upside doesn't mean you're going to achieve that. But he has. And he also has all the intangibles. Teammates love him. Great with the media. Leader. Okay, like he's everything you want in your leader.
He doesn't give up. They targeted him defensively all night tonight. Backdoor cuts. That was the guy they were looking for, and he persevered. Not a high-scoring night. Tough grind. I had Jerry on Tuesday, by the way, and I asked him, last question. I said, who would you start your team with today, Luka or Hallie? He said Hallie.
Yeah. So I don't disagree with that. And I also think if you're looking at today, Luka's body is, to me, the biggest concern with him and his horrible defense. So,
well, and also, I don't think you have people running and saying, I want to play with Luka Doncic, but you've got a whole group of people saying, I want to play with Tyrese Haliburton.
It's a great point. 111-110 the final. Happy that you're with us here on If You Don't Like That. A 35-point fourth quarter for the Pacers, outscoring Oklahoma City by 10 in that final quarter.
Yep, and they outscored them 31-28 in the third quarter. They won both of the quarters in the second half. Here's the interesting number, though. In the playoffs, Oklahoma City's 20 plus 24.6 on their home court. On their home court. On the road, they're negative 6.9. So they've got to win game 2, Napes.
Oh, they will. And I think they will. Dirk, you'll kick us off here. How are you, Dirk?
I'm very happy, Grant. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thanks.
Man, I love how people keep trying to pin down a narrative on the Pacers and who Haliburton is. And it's like the guy's writing the story for you as he goes throughout these playoffs. Already beaten people's sweet predictions. I mean, I told you yesterday, if they won this game 1, people aren't going to know what to say. It's going to turn this series on its head. And still, you're going to see a lot of people thinking they can't come out and win game 2. I mean, underdog.
One game has nothing to do with the next. The numbers would tell me that Oklahoma City will win game 2, 68 wins regular season, home court playoffs.
25 turnovers.
How good they are after a loss. I mean, all the numbers would tell me Oklahoma City is going to win game 2, which is fine. Then it becomes a best of 5.
So how about Miles Turner's defense down low? Anytime the big man got down. I don't know, Grant. You had SGA with a good performance. You had 25 turnovers, and you still didn't come out with the win. I don't think this is so cut and dry. What else? They shot really well from what I observed. Like Lou Dort was hitting threes. This is.
Well, I didn't think it was cut and dry before game 1 because both these teams from January 1st are the 2 best teams in the NBA, and even though the Pacers are a 4 seed, they're rolling. They have tremendous momentum. They're a team. They don't just rely on one guy. So I didn't think it was cut and dry. I thought this could be a very, very interesting series before it began.
And to your point, Grant, the Pacers made their comeback in the fourth quarter with their bench guys. They got 39 bench points to Oklahoma City's 28, and that speaks to their depth and just everybody is ready for a moment, Dirk.
Yeah, depth. I mean, I wonder what that's like. I wish we could try that out sometime. But, you know, Grant, you said this is a team, I'd say, up until you get to the last 3 minutes, and then Tyrese Haliburton really has won several games for them on crazy shots, and they get defensive stops. You know, like we say they're the best team. Well, a couple bounces of the ball differently, we're looking at the New York Knicks right now. So it's just something magical going on. Siakam is always in the right spot at late in games. Like, it's just crazy how it's coming together, and I'm just really enjoying the rhyme. I feel like this is as close as the Kings will ever get to a title shot. So might as well, like, hypothetically assume Halliburton's still on us, and you know there's some Kings out there. But man, I'm just having so much fun with this playoff this year.
Thank you, Dirk.
Great,
thank you very much. The Kings are light years away from these 2 teams. Light years.
Yeah. Yes. Oklahoma City's so good, they're going to have to make decisions on who they have to let go because they're going to replace them with top picks. So
exactly.
Incredible stuff.
Yep.
Not much to do in Oklahoma City too. Just work on your game. Focus.
Yeah, there really isn't. They have an area. Have you been to Oklahoma City?
I have. Yes.
I like the Bricktown area. They have a restaurant there, Mickey Mantle Steakhouse, which was always, I used to go there every time I was in OKC. It's always very windy every time I've been there. Downtown is very quaint. And you're right. There's not a lot to do there. Very true. Very true.
Incredible game 1. Okay. If you're somebody trying to come back to the NBA because you've been turned off by the 3-point era and you tune in tonight, you see that first half, you see that finish. Are you tuning into game 2?
Well, it's the NBA Finals. So I still think this will be a poorly rated finals, but it's the NBA Finals. So when you ask me if I'm tuning in, well, yeah, I'm tuning in because it's my job. I'm not like licking my chops for game 2. It's not like a must-see event for me, but because it's my job, I will watch it. But it's not like something I'm super excited for.
But what about the casual fan? Everybody's saying ratings are going to be down, no big markets. This was kind of that grinded out game style that Adam Silver has been pushing through the refereeing now into the finals.
We'll see. You know, the numbers will tell when they come out. That's for sure. Davis, we'll get to you next. Hello, Davis. How are you?
Hey, Grant. Hey, Ryan. First things first, coaching matters in the NBA. What Rick Carlisle did in the fourth quarter, he completely outcoached Daigneault. The bench unit got them back in it. They forced Oklahoma City to go small, which played right into Indiana's trap. And then they counteracted the defense on Haliburton by making Nembhard the primary ball handler. So Doug Christie will never coach an NBA Finals game. And we should have never traded Haliburton.
No. I mean, those I can't disagree with those two comments at all.
But yeah, I don't know what's going on with Indiana, man. It's when Miles Turner banked in that three, there's always like one weird shot or play in a game. Like when Minnesota were on the conference finals run last year, when Rudy Gobert made a fadeaway bank shot. There's always some weird shit like that. But keep doing what you're doing, guys.
Appreciate that.
Yeah,
good stuff right there.
Game one in New York, you had Nesmith go nuts, and tonight, or Nembhard, excuse me, and tonight you had Nesmith really kicked that off for them. Did you have any issue with the challenge and how it was adjudicated?
No, I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was accurate. I also thought it was a stupid challenge earlier in the half, in the third quarter, by Daigneault on a reach-in for this reason. In a game of this magnitude, NBA Finals, I'm always keeping my challenge in my back pocket when I need it at the end of a game. Obviously, if it was successful, you'd still have it, but I don't like losing my challenge in a game of this magnitude, of this stage in the third quarter. But you're referring to the out of bounds on Siakam. I didn't have an issue with that. I didn't think it was a foul.
Yeah, based off of how the playoffs have been reffed, maybe that's a foul in the regular season, but definitely not in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I didn't think it was a foul. Not with an NBA Finals game on the line.
Exactly right. And I actually didn't have a massive issue with Oklahoma City's challenge because they were kind of at that point where they were about to push it over the top. And I think that's what he was looking for, to continue that run that they were on. And it just did not happen for him. Justin, thanks for calling tonight. You're on with Grant and Ryno. Justin, you there?
Hello?
All right, he's not there.
No,
Hello?
sir.
Hello?
Hi. Hi there. How are you doing?
Okay, thank
Good,
you.
how are you?
All right. I was thanks for taking my call. I've been watching you guys for a long time. I was born and raised in Sacramento. I've been in Michigan for the last 5 years, still watching the Kings.
Nice.
And I was just curious what you think of Cason Wallace as a target for the Kings from the Thunder.
I don't hate it. I think it's a little bit smaller than what you need, but I don't hate it.
I think that he could need to get out from the shadow of Caruso and SGA and maybe get a shot in his third year.
Well, they have decisions to make. Jerry and I talked about that on Tuesday. They can't bring this entire team back. So, but with the way they've drafted historically, Sam Presti, incredible. There's no reason to believe they're not going to have somebody to fill in names.
They probably, in all likelihood, will be better than they are now.
Yeah, good point.
All right. And one more question. What do you guys think about Keegan Murray playing the small forward next year?
You know, it's interesting because Jerry's mentioned that many times in the past. I want to see Keegan Murray's game develop into a consistent two-way player. And we've talked about this ad nauseum because he's not the first, second, third, or many times the fourth option. But I need to see his offense more consistent for me. We know he brings his glove every game. He plays defense every game. We get that. I like the intangibles that he brings. But for me personally, I want him more consistent on the offensive end.
I agree with the consistency, but I'll say this. I think one of the priorities to maybe getting what the Kings have right now on paper on track is moving guys into their natural positions. I think Keegan's got to get small forward.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe his offense would improve not being at an undersized at his position.
So, hey, Justin, take care.
All right, thank you.
Michigan especially. They've had like 17 tornadoes this spring. It's crazy.
I'll tell you, we have been in Oklahoma City. Matter of fact, we took off after a game, and there was not only a tornado warning, there were tornadoes. And we took off in the opposite direction and just got out of Dodge. That is some serious stuff. I mean, listen, like we talk about earthquakes, you talk about this, you talk about this. Boy, when you see the destruction that these tornadoes do, particularly in that region of the country, it's scary with a capital S. Scary, scary, scary.
And can come out of nowhere in the dark.
You have no warning.
No warning.
Exactly. I mean, very often they'll say there's a tornado warning, but you don't know, like, you just don't know when they're going to happen. Like, boom, you know?
I will tell you, with the growth of YouTube and the growth of streaming, there are some really good streamers out there that are now saving a lot of lives because they are able to, I mean, talking like TV level meteorologists, they're able to predict and give live updates as things are going on, saying, hey, this thing's 15 minutes from your city. So one good thing about the internet.
All right, good to have you with us here on If You Don't Like That. We'll be on after game 2 as well, so make sure you join us after the game on Sunday. Don't forget, if you have plumbing issues, you need a repair, New Works Plumbing will be there for you. They've got a fix for you. They are available around the clock. You've got the information there on the screen, or you can go to newworksplumbing.com, NEWWRXplumbing.com. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. The Pacers, their only lead of the game was the shot from Haliburton with 0.3 of a second left. How about that?
It's how they've done it all year, or I should say all postseason, Grant. They stick around. They stick around. And to a degree, like Dirk said, there's something about this team. I just feel like there is. I don't want to say destiny, but there's something there to me.
Baki, good to have you on. Of course, he's talking about Novak Djokovic playing the center tomorrow in the semifinals at the French Open. That doesn't surprise me. I did watch the quarterfinals with Joker. Guy's still unbelievable. He really is. But yes, we are talking NBA finals here. And again, we'll do it again. Game 2 coming up for you on Sunday. Matt says this Haliburton trade is a Kings all-timer. Let's also acknowledge that the Kings didn't get chopped liver back. All right. I mean, they got a very, very good player back. They got a multiple-time all-star back in Sabonis. So let's not make it sound like they gave Haliburton away. I have talked about this often, that the biggest difference between the two, in my opinion, is the position they play, and the fact that Haliburton plays the most important position on the floor with the way the game is played today. And he is a special player, a leader, and any team would love to have that type of an individual. And the Kings had that player and they traded him. That's my issue. Now, I didn't feel that way at the time of the deal. And I've changed over the last several months, changed last year. And I've always said this, Ryno, you know me well. I said, you can't evaluate a trade for at least 3 years.
Yep.
You just can't. Well, here we are. We're 3 years in. Would I make that deal all over again if I was Sacramento? No, absolutely not. I would not have made the deal.
Yep, you can't do it. I will say this, though. We've had the discussion about coaching and other guys and building. The Kings have failed to a degree, Domantas Sabonis. They have not continued building around him. If you're going to make a trade like that, trading Haliburton, I mean, Grant, how long have we
the biggest thing is we need a point guard. That's for sure.
Need a point guard.
Okay. Well, I would say this. It's much, much easier to build your team around a top flight point guard than any other position on the floor.
Yeah. I would agree with you 100%, especially in today's NBA, as you said.
today's NBA. I mean, if it were back when I had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, well, I can build my whole team around him. Okay, it's a little bit different now.
Very true. Right? Very, very true.
I mean, I can put 4 guys out on the floor with broken legs, and I'm going to win 50 games if I have Kareem as my center back when he played.
This is true. This is very true. There's nothing I can really argue about there. Not going to lie.
Yeah. So it's the way the game's played now, and we'll see. There's a lot of work to do for the Kings, as we know, but right now we're talking NBA Finals, and Tyrese Haliburton continues to shine in the biggest of moments. The guy doesn't melt under pressure at all. He wants the ball. He's confident, and you got to remember he's just entering his prime.
Yeah. It's an excellent point. Remember, the most overrated player, according to the players who voted in the NBA this year.
Quick thought about the Cup Oilers. Well, I will tell you, last night I was doing the show when the game was in overtime, and I made a comment. You better not make a stupid penalty here and give either of these teams a power play, especially Edmonton. And look what happened. And literally 2 minutes later, the game was over. So great game. Great game.
Incredible game. A lot of history between those two teams as well. Good stuff. Flores, Kings failed trading for an old school type of player in Sabonis instead of a newer style type of player like Haliburton. No,
I disagree. I disagree entirely with that.
He's one of 3 in the NBA. That was kind of the new school, having a big that can distribute. I think, Grant, and I've said this on my shows, and I know we're focusing on the finals. I think the Kings' thinking was, we don't need that true point guard because we're going to bounce back and forth. With Sabonis running the show and De'Aaron Fox running the show. And De'Aaron Fox decided, I'm going to settle for 3s. And so now you are having just strictly Sabonis, and you're filling in. You lose De'Aaron Fox, you don't refill behind him at that position, and everybody's got to do it by committee. And
well, they also, the following year of the trade, won 48 games, and they were the 3rd seed in the West, which people don't want to acknowledge for whatever reason.
Yeah, and De'Aaron Fox played like a point guard. He got to the hole.
That's correct. And De'Aaron Fox was not only playing like a point guard, but before he broke his finger in the playoff series against Golden State, he looked to me like a special player on his way to superstardom. I mean, he dominated. He was so good. And Kings fans were so excited because they thought, okay, this is truly going to be the start of a great run for many years. And then it was over.
Yeah, spot on. And now we're going to be talking about Tyrese. Can we put the Lucas stuff to bed at least? Now can we just make it Tyrese?
Yeah. Yeah.
Please.
Good luck with that.
Oh my goodness. If you want to get on the show, call. You can use the link that we're going to put in the chat right now. Keep putting your messages in. We will get to those as well. We're going to be back Sunday for game 2, right, partner?
Yes, we will be back after the game on Sunday. Looking forward to that as well.
So let's see. Sabonis is empty stats. Okay, this has been something going around a little bit.
Absurd.
What do you say to that besides absurd?
I say it's people that you know what I say? I say you don't know anything about basketball. That's what I say. Seriously. You know what? I'm sorry. That's exactly what I say. Aaron, you don't understand basketball. You don't know what you're watching if you think it's empty stats. That's absurd.
Torsha. It wasn't the worst trade. We had a top 3 offense in the year. Yep, absolutely. Both teams benefited. Just one came out a little bit better.
Baki's going to pay me $50 per show if I would take the place in TNT Roland Garros studio. I got to go to Paris. I got to fly, 12 hours to go sit in a studio for $50. Like, how am I going to afford to eat? Where am I going to stay on $50? Thank you for your generosity, Baki.
Paris is so different. They beat to their own drum. They have wine at lunch. They eat late at night.
I love Paris. I love Paris. It's one of my favorite cities. I loved it. Loved it.
That's saying something from you. You are a traveler. You know.
Yeah, I love Paris. It's a great, great city. I love a lot of places in Europe, but Paris is a magnificent city. I've always enjoyed being there.
No doubt. All right, thoughts on tonight? What was the most Haliburton shot is going to be the story, but what are you taking into game 2? Grant, Rick Carlisle is going to adjust from what you saw. You saw an adjustment at halftime. So are the Thunder to a degree. Pressure goes to them.
Yeah, the pressure is on the Thunder, not only because they're at home, but because you don't want to be in a position where you got to win 4 or 5 games if you lose on Sunday. I think Oklahoma City played a B- to C+ game tonight. All right. Now, in all fairness, I didn't watch them play every game this year. I did watch a lot in the playoffs. To me, there are 2 things about this Oklahoma City team. They respond tremendously when they lose. They are great. I mean, you remember they got humiliated in game 3 at Minnesota, and in game 4 played a perfect game.
Yeah.
I expect them to play a perfect game, if there is such a thing, on Sunday. And I would be very surprised if they don't.
They've got to find a way. I said it at the top, and I'm with you. They normally make you pay for your mistakes. They did not make the Pacers pay for their mistakes tonight.
No.
Whatsoever.
Nope.
Only 11 points off of those 25 turnovers.
I thought the crowd was a little quiet, too, for an NBA Finals game, to be honest with you.
Really?
Here's something else I wanted to say. And I did a rant on this earlier this week, and I want to know how you feel, Ryno, and everyone else. I said that one of the problems with the finals and this matchup was not only the teams playing from a nationwide perspective, which is not fair, but it's the reality, but it's the announced team. Mm-hmm. I love Mike Breen. Mike's great. We don't even have to discuss Mike. We can leave him out of the equation. How on earth Richard Jefferson gets on this stage, this platform, as the number 1 team on an NBA announcing schedule is bewildering to me. Like, I don't understand it. He's not very good. He is a local guy. Like, he's a guy that if I were tuning into a local team, I would say, okay, he's pretty good. On a national level, the difference between a Jeff Van Gundy or Stan Van Gundy or Reggie Miller to Richard Jefferson is like a different league. It's like it, and I mean this in all sincerity. I'm not exaggerating. It takes the enjoyment of me watching a game. I didn't feel like I was watching a finals game tonight. I didn't feel like that. And it didn't feel like a championship caliber game to me. The crowd didn't feel that way. And I'm sorry, but it didn't come through that way on TV. And I'm not a Doris Burke crazy fan. She's good, but I don't think this is a platform that she needs to be on. I think there are so many better talent or better talent out there. The drop off from Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy, and I know they've been gone now 1 season removed. The drop off from Van Gundy and Jackson to Richard Jefferson and Doris Burke I don't even feel like I'm watching the finals. I'm sorry, I don't.
It's one thing if Richard Jefferson was on par to be there. He's not. And I think he's a likable guy. I've met him before, but he can be a little brash, right? You don't always understand his humor. He hops in and steps on you, which he did multiple times to Mike Breen.
Yep.
But I would say the difference here, and this is your world, not mine, it's your world, partner, is you can do that if you're doing a studio show and you're Big Perk, you're Richard Jefferson. You can't do that on the call for the NBA Finals.
He doesn't have a good voice either.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a commanding voice. And I'll tell you, Tim Legler would be much better in that seat than Richard Jefferson.
Absolutely.
Much better.
Absolutely. Antonio Davis would be great in that seat.
So I just wanted to throw that out there. But it is what it is. And I feel bad for Mike. And Mike would never say this. You don't get the best of Mike Breen when you have Richard Jefferson next to you. Like it brings down the telecast because you're judged as a team. You're not judged by individuals on a telecast. It just brings it down. I'm sorry.
He said to Richard at one point tonight, he's like, you haven't asked me one question. He literally said that on the air.
I know. Give me 2 seconds here. I got to turn the air on here.
Yeah, I'll get Dirk. I think this is the difference, at least tonight, that what you saw between the Thunder and the Pacers is when things get tough for the Thunder, they go to 2 spots. It's SGA and it is Williams. And with the Pacers, when things got tough, they had a number of different ways to go from their bench, guys in their starting lineup. And that's where I see that line. And I thought the Pacers made things easy for Lou Dort and some of the others. They conceded some threes to keep the ball at SGA's hands.
Yeah, they did. And, SGA had the ball in his hands on the final Oklahoma City possession. I'm not including the 0.3 of a second. I thought Mike I got to be honest, I thought Mike made a mistake there when he said that's a lot of time. That's not a lot of time. Like he was making it sound like, I mean, you really, all you can do is have a tip in, that. But the possession before, you have the ball in the hands of your MVP. He got a good shot and they missed it, right?
Yeah. 100%. And the first half, that was another big difference in this game. The offensive rebounds in the first half. The Thunder were getting to every 50-50 ball, and that changed in the second half, and it became the Pacers that were getting those second looks, especially down the stretch. That's how Siakam was cleaning up, Napes.
All right, in the totality of the 48 minutes, 1 being terrible, 10 being a great, great game, what score would you give this game for a game 1?
A 6.
All right. I was going to say a 7. Up until the final few minutes, I thought it was a very difficult game to watch. It didn't get me enthralled. And quite frankly, if I wasn't doing this for a job, I may have turned it off and may have then gone back to it at the end. Like it didn't grab me. It didn't captivate me.
You didn't have any real sick. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you. I just Jeffersoned you.
No.
You didn't have many signature moments. You had a couple of big blocks from Mathurin. You had a big block from Williams. But Tyrese's shot was really what stands out, right, Napes?
Yes, that's what stands out. I'll ask you, am I let down because of what I just watched with the Knicks and the Pacers? And so I'm kind of like, oh, gee, now we've got this, and it wasn't that compelling until the end. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. I just wasn't. And I think, I'm sorry to say this, I think the announcers have something to do with it, not including Mike Breen. I really think that Kevin Harlan with Stan Van Gundy and Reggie Miller are a great team. I thought they did a great job.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. When Harlan gets into that second gear and he knows, he feels the moments. And I'm not saying Mike Breen doesn't. I just think, as you said, the other people bring Breen down. It's hard to get up to that when you're not working with the best.
JoJo says no superstars want to play in Sacramento. Am I right, Grant? I don't really know. They've never had a superstar. They've had all-stars, but they've never had a superstar. So I don't know how to answer that question. But one thing I learned in the late 90s when nobody wanted to play in Sacramento and fans stopped going to the games after the 97-98 season, overnight, the Kings became the darlings of the NBA. Okay? Overnight. So things can change. And if you don't think so, go ask Golden State Warrior fans before they made the Monte Ellis trade to Milwaukee. Okay? Because if you remember, Joe Lacob came out to center court for a Chris Mullin, I believe it was jersey retirement, and got booed off the floor. He got booed off the floor that year after that trade. That was the impetus for the Warriors starting their dynasty. That was the move that got them going. And nobody wanted to play in Oakland. You didn't have players calling up their agents going, oh, I need to go play for the Warriors. But then within a year, everyone wanted to go play for the Warriors. Everyone wanted to go play for the Kings. When the turn of the century, players were telling their agents, get me to Sacramento. I want to go to Sacramento. That was the truth. So things can change in a hurry. The landscape can change in a hurry. Here's the biggest issue that I see in comparing the late 90s to now. The Kings had great owners. That's right. They had great owners. The Maloofs were great. Players wanted to go play for the Maloofs. The Maloofs treated their players like gold. They had a casino and hotel in Vegas. Players loved that. The Maloofs were great. Not good. They were great to their players. You don't hear any superlatives next to Vivek Ranadive's name around the league. Okay? Players are resistant to go to Sacramento unless they don't really have a choice because of the money. And that's the reality of the situation. If you have a choice A and choice B, and one of those choices is Sacramento, you're going to the other team right now because of ownership. Everyone knows. There's no secret. Agents know, coaches know, general managers know, and the players know. They're not stupid. They hear. You don't think that De'Aaron Fox left Sacramento and told everyone stay away from Sacramento? You don't think Kevin Huerter went to Chicago and said, oh boy, you don't want to go there? And I can go on and on. Of course, that's what's going on.
Kevin Huerter all but hinted that when he was back in Sacramento.
Yes.
Yes. I think the hard thing to realize, because I think you bring up an excellent analogy with the Warriors. I mean, that was it for the Warriors fan. You remember the We Believe t-shirts, the playoffs, you beat it one seed, and so you're thinking, man, we just traded the farm away, not realizing that it can get that much better, the levels to it. And I think now in this NBA, Grant, the parity that you're going to see across the board with the utter lack of patience for coaching. Look at New York. Look at the other coaches that were fired this year because of the CBA. The windows are so small to win. You're going to see more turnover and players going different places.
Somebody said Mitch Richmond was a superstar. I disagree with you. He was an all-star. He wasn't Michael Jordan in that era. He wasn't Gary Payton in that era. He was an all-star and a very, very good player, but I didn't label him as a superstar. That's just my opinion.
Do we need to wait to label Tyrese Haliburton as a superstar till he gets a ring?
I don't think you need a ring to be validated as a superstar. Charles Barkley was a superstar and he didn't get a ring. So I'm not so sure that you have to have a ring, but I know that in this era that we live in with social media and all of the people that have a voice, if you don't win a ring, they won't consider you a superstar, right? I mean, that's what happened with Giannis. Great player, but doesn't have a ring. Well, then he got a ring. Now he's right. It elevated him. So it's a good question that you ask. Probably yes. And if Tyrese Haliburton, first of all, I don't think Haliburton's a superstar. I think he's a special player, and I think there's a difference. Like, to me, a superstar is the Kobe Bryants of the world, LeBron James for the majority of his career, right? Those are superstars. Those are the stars above Steph Curry, superstar. Nobody would argue with that, correct?
No, not at least from this room.
Yeah. So, but if Haliburton wins a ring, you'll hear superstar associated with his name a lot.
Haunted horse, open up your ears. Charles Barkley is a superstar.
I just said Charles Barkley was a superstar and he never won a ring. Do I gotta go up to Oregon and slap him in the head?
You might have to. And while you're there, figure out what the heck a haunted horse is. We're still working on that, Daves.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
My goodness. Oh, my goodness. All right.
I would think a haunted horse might be a horse that comes face to face with a lion in the wilderness. That might be a haunted horse.
But it depends where the lion approaches. Because if the lion approaches from behind, then the horse might have a little bit of an advantage. Get those two back hooves into that lion, you might get him to run away.
What's wrong with us?
I don't know. It's just what we do. It's not like there's the NBA finals. Landing,
though, I'll tell you that if you're looking to relocate, you go to Calusa and CalusaSunrise.com. I-5, Highway 45, Highway 20 will get you to Sunrise Landing from Blazona Development. Check out their models, 6 and all to choose from. No Mellorews, no homeowners, adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club. Check it all out. Go to CalusaSunrise.com, adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club at CalusaSunrise.com and Sunrise Landing. All right, we are rolling right here, and we are happy that you have joined us here on this NBA Finals postgame edition. Don't forget, we'll be on Sunday night as well, right after the game.
The Pacers come in and steal game 1 on another Tyrese Haliburton game winner, 0.3 seconds left. Game 2, got to be a must win for the Thunder. I think this is the nuance that some people are having a hard time understanding, because Michael Jordan came out and said, Mitch was one of the greatest guys to play against, because it was a two-way battle, right?
Yep.
Lay that battle out. You called it so many times.
All right, here's the difference between a superstar and an all-star. A superstar would have won a playoff series in Sacramento with the team that he had around him when Mitch Richmond was there. They would have won a playoff series. Mitch didn't do that, okay? He got into the playoffs 1 year when he was with Sacramento. A superstar alone will get you into the playoffs and in all likelihood win a series. Mitch wasn't that guy, in my opinion.
But he was not that guy, but he kept things interesting. He kept a standard, what I felt was at least in intensity and what you brought to the court. They just didn't have the best pieces around him.
I loved him. But at some point, since the Kings have moved here, since 1985, with the exception of 2002, the Kings fans always make the excuses. Well, you didn't have the right players around them. At some point, that excuse can fall on deaf ears. You can't use it every year. You just can't. I'm sorry. Like you can say, you made a comment earlier, and I don't necessarily disagree with you about building around Sabonis. But when you think about it, they made a very good draft pick in Keegan Murray. Mm-hmm. They had what some people consider an elite point guard in Fox. You can characterize him however you want, but most people would say he's very good, maybe not elite, but good. You went out and got a guy that's a proven 25-point-a-game scorer in DeRozan, correct? I mean, you tried to build a team with a Malik Monk, all right, on the team. You were able to cultivate and develop Keon Ellis.
Okay, but Malik Monk, that's the piece that helped Sabonis. With everything that you're saying, I get that having DeMar DeRozan on the roster helps the team and you're building towards something, but you're not building around Sabonis' strengths by bringing DeMar DeRozan in. It's a ball starter. Well,
you did with Monk, correct?
Unbelievably. Absolutely. Right. He's a playmaker. Right. It opens up another side of Sabonis's game where you can bounce back and forth. So,
I want to get to JoJo. Yeah. Don't bring your nonsense to the program. Okay? You're embarrassing yourself if you think Keegan Murray is a bust. What you're telling everyone on the stream is you have no knowledge of anything as it relates to basketball. Like, if you think that Keegan Murray is a bust, you're an idiot. I don't really know how else to say it. I'm going to simplify this. You're a moron. Okay? You're a moron if you think Keegan Murray is a bust. You're stupid. You're ignorant. You're uneducated. You have no idea what the hell you're talking about. That's my rant for today.
JoJo, you have homework. Go look up Thomas Robinson.
Yes. Marvin Bagley. Josh Jackson. Okay?
We can keep going.
Hashim Thabit. Okay?
Nick Stauskas.
Greg Oden. You want me to keep, or you want me to just keep it to Sacramento?
Yeah, Sacramento. Jimmer Fredette.
All right. Jimmer Fredette, Nick Stauskas, Thomas Robinson, Marvin Bagley. All right. Now put Keegan Murray next to those, and you're talking about a man versus a child with all of those. Stop it with this stupidity.
JoJo, if you want extra credit, add Ben McLemore. Come back to us. We got faith. Do your homework, JoJo.
At least Ben wasn't a bust when you look at the totality of his career. Okay, he wasn't
stick around
because at the end of his career, he actually was a productive player.
Yeah, you know what? I take that back. JoJo, you're off the hook for extra credit. BJ, thanks for waiting.
What's up, BJ?
Hey, how you guys doing?
How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for showing up tonight. And it's nice that Ryno's with you. A little special going on tonight. I like that.
Finals, buddy.
Yeah, I'm only working this game and the third game, so I get to see the rest of the game. So I'm kind of excited. Good. I saw the last of this game, but I was listening to your guys' conversation, And you're almost talking about the intangibles of someone had commented when I got home, I was listening, that empty stats, that Sabonis is empty stats or something. And to me, it's like, well, who else is doing what he's doing? He's a walking double. You know what he's going to bring. And there's a way and a fashion how you approach something, whether it's your family or building something, especially team sports. You know that he's going to put on his shoes and he's going to at least try his hardest. He might not rebound and he might kind of get mixed up every now and then, but I think with a program, Sabonis, at least you know what you're going to get. If we could trade him, that would be nice. I would rather trade Levine, but anyways, the real reason why I called was that the intangibles of Mr. Vivek, the jock sniffer, actually proving first, and it's going to take a system and a little bit of a process. He's going to have to prove first that he's going to hire a team that's going to coach, manage, and build a team. Because we could talk about building, a motion offense. We could talk about doing the triangle. We could talk about all this stuff. Have the best players in the world, and even you guys just named all the true busts. By the way, Keegan Murray is the last person that you want to get rid of on a team. You know what he's going to come with. He plays defense all the time. He just needs a little bit of.
If he's a bust, ask yourself this question: you could trade Keegan Murray right now today and get a very nice return for him. You wouldn't be able to get that with Thomas Robinson or Nick Stauskas or Marvin Bagley or any of those guys I just mentioned. If you wanted to trade Keegan Murray right now, you would get a nice package in return.
And arguably, really quick, he's the one name that you never hear that is available or possibly being shopped. If there's somebody that has been classified at times as we're not going to go there or touch him, it's Keegan Murray. So the Kings value him, and most Kings fans do, at least defensively. BJ, go ahead.
Well, you guys bring up an excellent point. It's your guys' show that Keegan Murray, if he was on any other team and with a system to where he wasn't necessarily the man, but where he actually ran off of certain screens and they had to play for him, like maybe coming out of a timeout or maybe the second or third possession, he thrives in a system like that when he knows what he's going to get. And if you were to actually call, I think Keon Ellis could actually be like that too. And there's some other players on our team, but you can't just mash a whole bunch. You can't put a V8 on a thoroughbred. They're both pretty good and fast, but they don't go together. So it really comes down to the intangibles, and that starts with Vivek, and that's leadership and some consistency. And once there's consistency, then you can build off of something. Until then, it's kind of nice that we get to watch Hallie do what he's doing, and he is a very special player. He's not a superstar. I don't know if he ever will be, because it's hard to get into that Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, Steph Curry stratosphere. But he's really special. You don't know what he's going to get, but he loves when the game's on the line. So I love talking basketball. So I'm so glad you guys are on. The Kings are like, when was the last time we lit the beam? It's kind of funny how we're still talking about basketball, still talking about the Kings. I'm not so sure if it's a sickness, if I'm a fanatic, or if I'm just jonesing for some good basketball, or all three of them. But I really appreciate you guys a lot. And I think the chat, I love the chat too. Cheers to the chat. You guys are the best chat. I try to get in other chats of sports talk or Kings talk, in particularly around town. I'm out of town right now working, so I get on the Bay Area stuff, and I also stay contacted in Sacramento. But it's a little watered down, and you're not going to hear the truth unless you come to the Kings court. You might get slapped around. You got idiots talking about trading Keegan, he's a bust, and that Sabonis is just empty stats. What does that mean? God. What does that mean? The stats are full.
It means they don't know what the hell they're talking about. That's
what not at all.
It means we have new viewers. We have new viewers.
That's good. Yes, come back and hit the thumbs up and throw in a comment in there and get Grant or actually the redheaded stepchild of Sucktown. Get him going talking about on ramps and stuff like that. So,
yep. Thanks.
Love BJ. You guys.
What I will talk about right now is something I would love to have, and that is great prime seafood and steaks at Bennett's, Sacramento, Roseville, and, of course, the West Side Grill in Rockland. Don't forget about Father's Day, a great place to go with Dad and celebrate. Take your father out there. Don't forget about high school, college graduations, a great place to celebrate. Just go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com, Bennett'sRestaurants.com, prime seafood and steaks at Bennett's.
Making me hungry. I still got time to get there, I think. So I'm looking at every team in the NBA, and you kind of made me think. Are the Kings like one of maybe 4 or 5 teams that have never had a superstar? Sacramento Kings, one of 4 or 5 teams.
Yeah, in my opinion, Chris Webber was definitely not a superstar. Mitch Richmond was the closest thing that they had. And so, yeah, I would acknowledge that, yes. Pazier was not a superstar. So, yes, Mike Bibby was not a superstar.
No.
Otis Thorpe in that era, Reggie Theus, they weren't superstars. So, yeah.
Jay Williams was he wasn't a superstar, but
he wasn't even an all-star.
No, but when you talk about what he did to bring attention back to the franchise, and then also what you got in return for him that really kickstarts what the Kings are really doing or were doing, it's an important piece too. Kings weren't getting a lot of attention back then. You know that.
Yeah, very true. I mean, he put the Kings on the map with his showboating style. There's no doubt about that.
Yep. Favorite player?
Again, JoJo, do me a favor, would you please? Just take the night off, all right? Take the night off. Seriously, just take the night off. If we traded Keegan, we wouldn't get a couple number 1 picks for him. Duh. Take the night off. All right. Just you need the night off. Go to sleep.
JoJo was definitely at happy hour. Bennett's every day of the week, 2 to 6 o'clock. In fact, JoJo had the margarita, the short rib tacos, maybe 2, 3, 4 margaritas.
Chris Webber was not close to being on that level, because Chris was not a team guy the way he needed to be, like a superstar. Chris would rather score 35 points and have 17 rebounds and lose than have 18 points and 7 rebounds and win. That's just the truth. He was an unbelievable talent. Could have been at that level, but he himself prevented that from being a pain in the ass to the coach, always having to have things his way, having a different set of rules than everyone else on the team. Flying down with the team when he was injured in February for a nationally televised game on Sunday against the Lakers. And everyone on the plane was very excited, thinking that, Chris is close to coming back. He's joining the team. And then where is he when the game is going on? Oh, he's on Rodeo Drive at brunch with Tyra Banks. Used the team playing to hitchhike down to L.A. No, really. I mean, that's not a superstar. I'm sorry.
No. Okay, yeah, JoJo, this is the last time we're going to mention your name because you're going to compare Keegan now to Ben Simmons. How about 80 games played, 77 games played, 76 games played?
How about we don't even mention his name anymore, and I could just block him and save us all the agony.
It's getting entertaining.
He's an idiot. Don't forget that coming up on Sunday, we'll be on again to talk about Game 2. How big is this for Oklahoma City? I'm going to say the same thing I said about the Knicks that I'm going to say here. I thought Game 2 at Madison Square Garden was a must-win for the Knicks, and they did. I think Game 2 Sunday is a must-win for Oklahoma City.
The Knicks lost Game 2, didn't they?
No, they won Game 2. They lost Game 1 on Haliburton shot that sent it in overtime. They won Game 2.
Oh, that's right. They came back. Okay. I was thinking they were down 0-2. Thinking of a different series. Maybe.
No.
All right.
No.
I'm thinking about them beating Boston. Okay. There we go. The playoffs are so long. Oh my gosh. But this
they
was
are.
exciting.
When you think about it. I mean, well, the layoff between the finals and the conference finals and the finals is just too long. And I know they do it because of TV, but it's very unfortunate.
Yep. I'm with you. Adam Silver, by the way, talked earlier today. He talked yesterday as well, looking to go an international versus the USA versus international all-star game format.
Yes.
Inspired by hockey names.
Yeah, of course he was inspired by hockey, and I think it's good. I think it will generate more interest. The question is, will the players give a damn in terms of effort, or will they be going through the motions? I think the Europeans or the international team will want to kick their ass. So I think you'll see quite an effort from them.
Look at how many international players are playing in the finals right now.
Of course.
We've got a ton of them. Guys that are playing big minutes. I think it's funny, though, when Adam acted like it was in his back pocket for the new TV rights deal. No, it wasn't. You just said earlier this year that you couldn't do that because you'd exclude too many American players.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Here's the other issue. This is they're taking a page from hockey, but this is nothing like hockey. Hockey made that into a tournament. Yep. This is just going to be a one-game deal at All-Star Weekend.
Still got to freshen up Saturday night. Have to do it. Bring in King of the Hill, like a one-on-one thing by position, whatever it's going to be. It's got to be a little bit better.
Absolutely. Any final thoughts on what we witnessed in Game 1?
The magic for the Pacers continues. And as much as we're going to take away Tyrese's shot and that he was in Sacktown, this is a special Pacers team, 1 through 15. So don't forget that.
Very true. Very, very true. Speaking about special, if you are looking to sell your vehicle, David and Adam at Eldorado Hills Motors, they are there for you. And if you are looking to buy a vehicle, go to edhmotors.com, check out what they have. And remember, if you don't see what you're looking for, no problem. David and Adam will get it for you. That's what they do with their decades of automotive experience. And you'll take delivery at the Auto Lounge at the Eldorado Hills Town Center. So you don't deal with a dealership and all of that. It is such a great concept that's long overdue. Get in touch with David and Adam at EDH Motors, Automotive Reimagined. It is a great experience when it comes to the automotive industry. Mr. Ryno in Sacktown, I will speak to you on Sunday, my friend.
Looking forward to it. You doing any shows tomorrow, 8 o'clock?
Yep, I'll do a show tomorrow at 8 o'clock.
Okay, awesome. We'll wrap up the week on the King's Court, 3 p.m. On the channel. If you're not subscribed already, please do give us a thumbs up, give us a like, and thank you to everybody that's already subscribed.
Sounds great. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your night. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.